For me, the first class of the year with new students is the most important class because it's my only chance to make a first impression. So I make sure that the class has a fun atmosphere where we're joking around and laughing. And I also make sure it's a safe environment for them to use their English. So I tell them that perfect English is not the goal here and not the requirement here, that as long as the thing they say is understood by their partner, then they've successfully communicated something. I tell them that trying and making mistakes is an important part of language learning, just like it's an important part of learning anything else. So another thing, I make sure that the first class is not overwhelming in any way, so it's easy. And I don't get into any course explanation and grade breakdown and stuff like that that is really dry. I just want to have fun in the first class. I get into that other stuff after we've had 2 or 3 fun classes under our belt. Okay, this is the second time today that I record this video. The first time was after work, and I watched it back and realized that I explained the life out of this lesson plan. So let me say first of all that this lesson is dynamic and exciting, and the students are up and moving around. They're engaged with each other. They're engaged with me. There's a nervous tension because it's the first time that they've met each other most of the time. And not only that, they're speaking English with people they've met for the first time. So they're kind of nervous, and they make mistakes and laugh nervously at the mistakes. And this activity is basically getting to know you activity, so which they seem to really have fun doing. So anyway, before I explain it, I just want you to know that it's not a dull lesson. It's a good, exciting, fast-paced lesson. Okay, so the first thing I have them do is make name cards, something like this. They write their first name on it. Then, as a class, we brainstorm things that you can ask somebody when you meet them for the first time. So I let them think for a little bit, and then I ask for some volunteers. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. Anyway, I'll only ask maybe 2 students to give me an idea. My students have always studied English before, so they have no problem generating something like, what's your name? Where are you from? How old are you? Something like that. So I know I'm not asking them to do anything that they can't do. If your students can't ask, first meeting questions like that, even with making mistakes, then you probably shouldn't do this activity. Anyway, there's 2 reasons why I do it as a class at first. It might seem like I'm putting students on the spot, but like I said, I know that they can do that. I want everyone to understand what I'm asking of them. So that's why I do it as a class first. And also I want to input into their brains that they're going to report to me their answers. So that motivates them to, brainstorm more. Anyway, I put them into groups of 2 or 3, and I give them some paper, and I ask them to generate as many questions as they possibly can. Things that you would ask somebody when you meet them for the first time. I tell them that they're welcome to speak in L1, in this case it's Japanese, but that they have to write the questions in English, and that those questions can be horrible English. As long as I understand it, then that's all that matters. So I give them some time, I go around and check, they can ask me questions, I'll, make comments here and there, like, maybe this is not the right way. Then afterwards, I'll ask them to tell me some answers, and I will write everything on my computer, which is connected to the TV in the room. You could use a whiteboard or the chalkboard. Anyway, when they tell me an idea, for example, where are you from? I write, where are you from? Then if they tell me an idea, for example, how old you, I'll just write, how old are you? And go next. Okay, great question. How old are you? And next. They'll probably realize they made the mistake, but I don't want to spend any time at all on it. I don't want to get into any kind of grammar. I want to smoothly go on to the next person. I don't want there to be any space where there's any room for them to be embarrassed. So I just keep going. We generate as many ideas as we possibly can, and then I choose 6 questions that I'm genuinely interested in knowing about them. So if there's not 6, I'll just add them by myself. So then I'll number them 1 to 6, and I'll put them full size on the TV screen. And then I'll have them write the answers to those questions here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not in full sentences, not like I'm from Osaka, just Osaka. My favorite food is, no, just Korean barbecue, something like that. So they write the answers down, and I make sure that they're, answers that they can use to answer the questions that we've generated. Then I get them all to stand up and go to somewhere in the room where there's no desks, and I do a carousel activity. Carousel activity is when, let's say there's 10 students in the class, I'll make 5 pairs. Then we'll go through the questions once. They'll ask and answer the questions to each other once, and then I'll have them change. One group will stay the same, but the other group, like this person, will go over here, and the other people will shift like that. Then you have the first person over here. And then the second time, you have this person will come over here, and everybody will shift. So that's good because it gives them practice doing the same thing over and over again, but with somebody who's new. So it maintains interest. This builds up fluency too. At the first time they do it, they're asking like, where are you from? And then by the 3rd or 4th time, they're asking, where are you from? So every time they shift, which I actually call not carousel, but I call it kaiten sushi. I got that idea from my buddy Bob Sanders. Thank you, Bob. Kaiten sushi is a sushi restaurant that has a conveyor belt that brings the sushi around to you. It's called conveyor belt sushi or revolving sushi. When the sushi comes around, you take the one you want. I use that because it's funnier. So after the first time, I'll say, okay, kaiten sushi. And then they go, what? So you come over here and you guys shift down, and they go, oh, okay, I get it. So then from the second time and third time, it's like, kaiten sushi. And then they automatically kind of change. So every time they change, I'll add something. For example, after the first time, I'll say, okay, now I want everyone to use and you to ask the same question back. So what's your name? My name's Brent, and you, like that. Then maybe after the second time, I'll say, okay, now I want to ask a follow-up question. Then after the third time, maybe it's, okay, let's ask 2 follow-up questions, something like that. We do that for a bunch of times until I think like, okay, they've had enough or time is running out. This part of the lesson takes about 50 to 60 minutes. And then after that, we do a quiz game where they get to ask questions to me. And I'll explain that some other time because already this video is getting long. One more thing about the cards. They can hold the cards while they're doing the activity, and that gives them something to hold on to and provides a buffer between them and the other student. Also, halfway through the activity, I will turn off the TV. So they don't know what the questions are. They can't read them anymore. They'll either have to remember them or reverse engineer them from the answers. So I tell them, if you forget the question, just look at the answer. You can see Korean barbecue and you remember, oh, what's your favorite food or what food do you like that. The other thing about having answers written on the card is I now have 6 pieces of information about every student in the class and their name. So in the second class, I probably haven't memorized their names yet, but I'll look, okay, Kosuke, are you Kosuke? Yeah, okay. Kosuke, oh, you work in a pub. Okay, that's cool. You like it? Where's the pub? And, make big money, yeah? So something like that. I won't do this with every student, every class, because it'll take too long. But with 2 or 3 students, every class, I'll ask them something I'm interested in on their card, and that builds a rapport. It also helps me remember them more. So sometimes if I do remember a bit of information, like when they come into class, I'll say, oh, hey, Kosuke, how was your weekend? Oh, yeah, good. Oh, did you work at the pub? So there we go. So I can see, the beginning brainstorming stuff is not exciting, but it's ramping up and it's kind of warming them up also. But once we get up and speaking, it's really fun and engaging and people are laughing and stuff. So it's fun activity. I hope you found it useful. I hope you maybe try it. Comment on it and or tell me what you do. Tell us what you do in your first lesson, because I'm sure we'd all like to learn something new too. Thanks for watching.